Hello. I decided to do this instead of finishing vacuuming the house. It'll probably just be me. I asked Fox if he wanted to join, but he just got back from work. His work's been pretty a lot. In fact, this whole week's been a lot for a lot of us. So I figured I'd hop on here for a few minutes, try to get more familiar with using my TTS to do the chat too. And a cat just jumped on me. Trying to get that thing back where I liked it before. I'm getting there, guys. Like I said, it's been a long day. I'm just trying to get where I can conveniently read the chat. Well, my computer read it. There it is. I feel like every time I find a button where it's at, it moves. I should be able to read you now. I'm to the point where I'm reading about AK and Twizzlers. I'll catch up. Of course, you're in the dark. If I'm in the dark, you're in the dark with me. Hello, Marcus. I have to ask, why do people like watching people on streams? This is a serious question because isn't it just a person sitting in front of a screen? Because we can't show guns on here. I would understand that if we could show guns, but we can't. In a perfect world, I could show you the cats, but they don't really sit still. Yeah, you definitely don't want me singing. I don't want to play video games either, which is really, really good for me because, yeah, as far as school, I like some of the courses I took. I don't know. I enjoyed when I got into it. I had fun. Sometimes getting the energy up and getting set up to do school papers and things was the problem. But usually, once I dove into them, I more or less enjoyed the learning experience. I could definitely bring the Beretta AR-70 out. I just had it out so much last year, for a bit there. I kind of thought everyone was tired of it. I saw the 7090 too. They're neat guns. They really are. I mean, would I like a actual Italian built 7090? Of course, but that's never going to happen. So, kind of like with the Marco Mar Set Miel, at least it's a decent build. Yeah, I'm going to talk about pistol braces, but one, let me ramp up to get a few more people in here. Maybe a super chat or two wouldn't hurt to get me going on it. But our coffee machine broke this morning, and we thought we would just clean it. Luckily, my wife not only got the cleaner, but she picked up a second coffee machine at Walmart if the cleaner didn't work, which is a good backup plan. Because, if we cleaned the original one, well, just return the other one. But the cleaner didn't work. So I've been without coffee all day, just having my first cup, and it's starting to kick in. Senioritis, I think it's just called blue balls. On the circular saw, a more interesting encore would be if he cut the webcam and or laptop in half or phone, whatever he was recording with. Imagine a camera point of view with literally a saw coming at you. Phew. You're actually chatting with the along for the ride. Not sure how much you're going to learn from me tonight. At least there's something to talk about. My goodness, the last couple of weeks were about the most doldrums the gun world's ever seen. For whatever reason, this week finally the gun world has picked up some. There's been more questions, more conversing, and not just about pistol braces, which that's been a thing, but I think everyone's kind of starting to regain some energy because in October, just I didn't know what to talk about, so I'm not blaming anyone. I was in the same boat. It was all the same stuff. I wasn't bored of guns. I wasn't looking at my guns thinking, I should just sell them all. But at the same time, I was just like, I don't know what to say. I feel like I've said it all. But, there's at least some things going on now. Um, Better than none. Thanks, Jake. I was kind of curious how my speech would read a super chat. It doesn't actually say super chat, but it does say $9.00. So at least I know. I think I mentioned this, but when I was getting live chat to work on here, I had the most up to date version of my text to speech, and it was freaking crashing hard whenever I tried to use the mic on these headphones. So I actually had to revert to a previous version of my TTS, which is not super old. I mean, it was only made like 4 months ago. But in the world where Google and Windows update every freaking week, that's old. But I mean, at least it's working, even if it doesn't read all the stuff as well as the newer version. As to purchase regrets, let me remind me. I'll revisit that in a second. As to my wife, yes. As to the Pioneer, yeah, it's still working. Again, after Fox stuck it in a bucket of liquefied dog shit, he effectively owned it. I wouldn't shoot it without gloves now, but yeah, it survived the taint. It is tainted, but still working, and that's why I mentioned it in my AK FAQ video. Is I gotta be fair. I mean, this year we've had better luck, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but we've had better luck out of a fucking Pioneer than Wasser. Take that for whatever it's worth. Yeah, 7.62 by 45, the only real gun in the country that shoots it's the VZ-52 rifle. There was also a machine gun that used it over there, but that was it. It's a shame because it was actually a pretty great cartridge. Spain did something similar over at SetMe for the early SetMe prototypes, a real kind of pretty thin and long bullet. Kind of reminds me of the idea of 6.5 Swede. Let's just do long and skinny. And yeah, there was an R70 carbine. What was it? The SCS or SC70? Yeah, there was a short one, and there was a folding stock one too. I'm on my laptop for this. I can't remember the barrel length. I wanted to say it was either 12 or 14 inches, so it wasn't teeny tiny. But the original one had an 18-inch barrel, so it was a little shorter. No, there's no chance of repealing the National Firearms Act because it has zero political support to do so. No one's going to cross that bridge, and it's been in place for so long, 90 years, actually next year. So very few Americans are alive today that can remember, well, not or even remember that were around before it wasn't a thing. So it's there. Um, enjoy your methylene. Yeah, I really polo shakes have always been a thing. Jay liked them, still does like them a lot, and I've kind of converted Fox over to them. I've got a 68 kit that I just threw together on a Morrissey receiver, but I do have a WBP receiver that one day I'll probably rebuild it on. And, just it's fine the way it is, but what it needs rebuilding. But they have nice variation. I love the texture, and this is going to sound funny, and I'm not being sarcastic. I legitimately love the smell of their laminate wood. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this is weird, but hey, this is right. This is what you're on the channel for. Sniff some Polish wood. And you can tell Rob Ski I said that. Uzi Pro is awesome. I love the little Uzi Pro. It was actually one of the guns I had to shelve during this brace shenanigans crap, but it's just fun. I mean, I don't know that it really has a purpose, but does anything really have a purpose or need to have one? It's just fun, and they were very affordable. You could pick one up brand new for like $800. So, well, just cool little gun. And it's an Uzi. It legitimately Israeli made. The Uzi Pro, I don't really see them much anymore. You know, I did a video a year or two ago saying they were discontinuing the Uzi Pro, and it seems like that was the Gen 1, and they said they were going to do a new gen. What was it, with threaded barrels and a few other things? But at the distributor level, I'm not seeing them in stock, even though IWI says they make them, they're in their catalog. It's been quite a long while since the distributors called and said, "Hey, we've got Uzi Pros. You want to buy any?" So I don't know how many have actually been sold in 2023. Maybe they're all going to one source, but they were very prevalent. Yeah, the Siamese Type 66. I assume you mean not the Mauser one. You know, that was the 46, 66, or the 45 if you prefer, but the actual Arasaka derived version. There's some really interesting ones. Yeah, it was in the Thai caliber or Siamese caliber. What about the Wazers? I mean, look at the Wazer 3 video. That was a day to remember. Well, they when they did the VZ 5257 rifle, they did a different mag for it to work with 7.62 by 39. I haven't heard anything about IWI, but you know, with everything going on over there. But keep in mind too, you know, it's like when a few months ago they were saying Zastava stopping imports and all that, and it wasn't that simple. It reminds me of a few years ago when everyone said that Colt was no longer selling to the civilian market, and what they were saying was we're suspending sales for X number of months because at that time Colts weren't selling. I think it was stupid of Colt to make that press release at all if they knew they were going to pick it back up. But either way, that got quickly blown out of proportion. So whenever I read something that's categorically an absolute, like this is ending, this is stopping, I usually want to dig deeper because there's usually qualifiers and exceptions and details that get left out because they don't neatly fit into a headline. I don't really know anything about the M&M 10 pistol. I remember when Mike first made the M10, the original AK. So yeah, I remember that. And then of course he had the M10X, his kind of Swiss thing, but it never really went anywhere because it took proprietary parts. But yeah, I haven't really had any direct experience with his newer stuff, unfortunately. Ooh, RPK 74 receiver. No, I don't. Nodex Bud was really the only one making them, and they haven't made new receivers in ages because so few of those kits came in. Uh, Oof, and with Vepr so expensive now, in the past you might say we'll use a Vepr as a base gun, but unfortunately I don't. Um, you might ask Arms of America. Sometimes they get weird receivers in. Big Honcho, what for your first AK? Yeah, you can do an SCS. The builder that did mine, Interfor USA, I think he did a couple of SCSs. There's a few specialized things, but yeah, it's just basically a shortened gun. Night. This is barely morning. I'm just having coffee. Yeah, on my Uzi Pro, I actually took the original 4.5 out and I put a micro 5 inch in that has the compensated little cuts in it, the little two V cuts. Not only is it a little nicer to have just a little bit more, but those cuts actually really do help with not exactly recoil, but like muzzle flip, that tendency of the spin of the bullet to make a pistol want to twist in your hand. They really do check that, at least when from what I've noticed. Is there actually a thumbnail picture? I mean, it's not like I can select one, so I just click past it. Oh, Uzi kits are crazy. Which Uzi is it for 5,000? I mean, you could put a GoPro on an Uzi. There's pick rail. There's pick rail adapters for GoPros. Shit, there's duct tape. This could easily happen. Yeah, I remember your washer with the crazy bolt. I mean, those things are going to slip through now and again, but we're just seeing more of them than before. And washers have gone up and down in quality. Right after the 2008 election, when Century increased orders with Romania, and they were kind of crazy. 2009, because of that, the quality of the washers went down. But even then, it was mostly cosmetic, not functional. But the last year or two, there's been a handful of pretty bad washers, and so that's why I can't recommend a washer, knowing that there's a not 0% chance you'll get a lemon because no one wants to get a lemon. Yeah, as far as Vepers and 545, the, the 545 guns were always an interesting kind of corner of that market. Wait, someone's cutting kids? Wait, kids have trunnions? Interesting. Would I ever get an AK-12? I mean, they really haven't been available. These kind of kludge together guns that people are doing in the US, paying thousands and upon thousands for. Fuck that noise. They're built from random parts here and there, and some of them are from rejected parts that are used. Some of them are airsoft parts or whatever. They're basically whatever parts were smuggled out the door of the factory. So there's no quality control assurance. Henry and I know Henry Chan and I are friends, and he was not impressed at all when he took an AK-12 out. So, would I want one, even one of those for 1,000 bucks, 1,500? Sure, but I'm not paying 4,000, 5,000 for a kind of inferior gun. Yeah, I need to get back on the Wazzer 3. No, I didn't send it out for repairs. I usually just do them myself. It's kind of part of the fun. Make a video out of it. Yeah, one of those guns we'll have to throw back in at some point, but a lot of other things going on. They're charging 4,000 for Uzi Pros. Are they asking that, or are people actually paying that? I'm down for SpongeBob tape. Why not? Yeah, the PSLs from 2020, 2021, Rob spoke very high of, excuse me. He had very good results out of accuracy on his, and we've had a couple in the store, and they seemed really well built. But a PSL may be a slightly different animal when it comes to construction and from a wasser. I mean, more than double, nigh on triple the price. But no, I've always been a big fan of the PSLs. Like everyone else, I wish they were still $700, but wish in one hand and generic name. Yeah, I've heard about the WBP. I get it. Um, Keep in mind the AR mag. Well, today the AR mag's pretty great, but that was always kind of the AR's downfall. It always seemed a little odd to me to put one of the weaker elements into an AK, but I'm sure it'll work fine. Look at those Zastava did those M85s with the AR mag wells, and I understand the desire to have mag interoperability. For what it is, it's fine, but I'll stick to my Braille. I have got plenty of those green mags. They're $30 new individually, or if you buy them in bulk, they're about 25 bucks. So yeah, a little more than an AR mag, but not crazy. The SAR ones were underrated for a very long time. I think now they've kind of caught on, but that was back when Romania was still really making a name for themselves in the market. Even then, even new, they had some scratches and stuff in the park, and the wood was really hit or miss as far as the looks, but they were solid guns and they were priced very fair. Surprisingly, the Wasser was cheaper later, a little bit. I think it was just economy of scale. Import a lot more Wassers than SAR ones, so you can sell the Wasser for 50 bucks less. Oh, 1056 and China. I don't think all the factories switched at once. Again, I'm not on my, but memory serves it was around 66 to around 71 in that time frame. So late-ish 60s to early 70s, and since multiple factories were making the Type 56, um, yeah, they weren't all at one time. Just like how in Russia, Izhevsk and Tula didn't switch over at the same time. Typically, Tula lagged behind. Now, I really don't know who's doing builds right now. I haven't really done one in a long while, and typically I just do it myself. So many of the AK assemblers are so backed up. Um, I mean, if it's already a headspace kit, if they populated the barrel and the bolt serial matches and all that, if it's a headspace, it's not a whole lot left to be done, frankly. Well, to be fair, I've never seen an AK at all. Now, to be 22 WR. No, I don't think so. I've had quite a few different types of 22 LR AKs, but no, I don't remember any of those. Yeah, when I bought my first PSL for 700 America, you get the ammo in a local gun shop, and I'm sure it came out of the regular tins, but he had it just in little paper wrapped and twine bound packages for like $2 for 20 rounds or something. Cheap enough. Yeah, I'm sure most Wasser tins still are. Keep in mind, Century still imports these in large numbers. So, I mean, I'm sure most of them are doing fine. The issue is with Zastavas on the market, WBPs, FBs, and yes, even Pioneers. I Those all seem to be doing better than Wassers right now. The JTS, wasn't that the original Chinese shotgun? If so, I think we did some videos early on with those. I just got jumped on by a cat. Hey, powerful preps. Yeah, the PAR ones, the PAR ones. I remember those. Not much info in the Sam 5. Um, I've certainly talked about them a lot over the years. About my first one at the tail end of 2004. I'm glad you liked the Pioneer video. It was fun to make. It was just couldn't really break it. I mean, hmm. Yeah, I don't know how you. I mean, you could get you could definitely 3D print an AK receiver for a display gun, but I'd be curious to see how you could heat treat certain areas that really need it, like the pivot pin holes and all that. Yeah, well, you saw how that whole Turkish shotgun thing went for my nephew there. I didn't sell him that Turkish gun, but yeah, that's the thing about those foreign kind of copies and clutched together guns. You can get one that just runs perfectly, and then you'll get one that just does not work. I remember that happened back with what was it, Interstate, when they were doing the trench guns, the M97s. Most of them would be fine, but once in a while, out of a batch, you just get a trench gun in there. It just did not work. Something was just out of spec with the receiver or bolt or whatever, and so it became a parts gun because you can't get parts for those, and typically those copy guns aren't directly parts interchangeable. Not without modifying, not without filing and fitting and all that. So, yeah. Oh, I knew what you meant about the SA space M-5 versus the SA M5. I Yeah, talked about it at length several times. Those are the ones that were put together here using virgin Bulgarian parts on the quote unquote US receiver. The receivers kind of came over as a block of steel, and then they finished them out here. And they were nicely well done. They had a very glossy black finish to them. Yeah, the PSI I ended up keeping used to be a friend's competition gun, and it's one of the old ones still marked FPK. It might even be marked FPK Dragonov, which is hilarious because people are like, well, PSLs are not a Dragonov. The gun says Dragonov on it. Argue with the gun. I mean, we all know it isn't, but it's kind of funny when a gun says that. Why would they make the Uzi Pro in the US? That doesn't seem efficient because you can import them as a pistol. But I would definitely say a gun built in Israel is going to be worth more in the U.S. I mean, look, even when it comes to Glocks, people usually want an Austrian Glock over the U.S. Glock, even though the U.S. Glocks are fine. They're Glocks. I would imagine no one's really doing the 80% mills right now because there aren't a ton of milled parts kits on the market. Yeah, there's some Polish ones, but back in the day, there were Hungarians, Polish, Bulgarians, even Russians. Yeah, you got to have a market to make stuff. And they may just be busy making other things. The factory can only make so many things at a time, and if they're busy making more rudimentary and kind of base level stuff, they may not make the more obscure but honestly cool stuff. If you're at $1,000 for an AK, I would say as a Staba M90, I just got one for a customer and it was 950. So, and of course, that's dealer. I probably shouldn't have said the price on stream, but it's great. Anyway, so you should be able to find one, especially in this relatively slow market, for not much more than a grand. The WBP is nice, but I do like the Zastava M90. And if you had more money, I'd say the Braille is the tops, but for your price point, my only thing about not recommending the Pioneer is the barrel. I'm just not sure. I think you'd definitely be better served with a Zastava barrel. Hey, Marksman. Yep, I've got an SA93. It appears in more than zero videos. Haven't really done much with it in a long time. I think the last mod I made to it was cutting the side of the receiver rear sling swivel. I've got to have rear sling swivel so I can put slings on the things. Yeah, Romania has been exporting version parts kits for a few years now, different styles and types. But yeah, and there's also the parts kits that come out of Nova Modul, which is another Romanian company. Israel's no stranger to embargoes. That's actually what split them off from France back around '68. Once upon a time, the two countries were thick as thieves, and yeah, had a political falling out. But then Uncle Sugar came in to the rescue. I just want an M21. Although I will admit, some of the M21 features are in the M90. Because if you look at a original M90 parts kit and then the current M90s, we've got things like some parts of the gas system are definitely more M21 than in the original M90, but it just shows that evolution. Yeah, sometimes I don't know I have a live chat either. Don't worry about it. Where do I get my pistols? From the Getting place. Being serious, which pistols? Yeah, certainly the legalities of 80%, but they're still a thing. They're still out there. But yeah, and keep in mind the whole 80% thing, that was marketing. That was sales. The ATF does not have an 80% classification. They don't look at a receiver and grade it by percent. To them, a piece of metal is either not a receiver or it's a receiver. Thus, it's a firearm. Yeah, the BD 38, BD 44 would be cool. I had one of the original PTR 44s. I know it's a little different, but the quality, like they were really pretty guns. Yeah, the PTR 44s had their issues, but I have little doubt that if more had been imported, they would have quickly worked them out because they were easily identifiable. It was a first run. It happens. Should it happen? Well, no, but it's understandable. It happens to the best of us. And I mean, I'm not the biggest German collector, but I love any pioneering gun. The STG 44 is just cool. Um, but I also really like subguns. I love the P38. The one P1 of mine you saw in there I've had for over 20 years. I just picked it up at a gun shop. Didn't hand pick it, just ran. I think I grabbed it. If memory serves, I just got out of a university class and went there on lunch and bought a freaking P1. Well, there's rule. Um, I don't know. I just like them. They fit my hand well, like the P99. They've got a lot of history, like the P38. The P4 you saw in the video. Did I put it in that video? I can't remember. I've actually got 3 or 4 other Walther videos recorded. So I can't, but the P4 I picked up on vacation in Houston about 15 years ago. I can, without going into anything on the KUSA gun on the 5.56, I can say that they did reach out to me about some things and whatnot. I can't give any behind the scenes, but my impression was they really were trying to make a good gun and they're taking their time and trying to do it right versus rush it out. I know that sounds like kind of, marketing stuff, but they'd email me with these random ass questions about specs and things, and I'd do my best to supply what I knew. But yeah, they seem like and I was talking to one of their more like design engineer guys. Yeah, on the Uzi Pro Mags, that doesn't shock me. Again, it just kind of seems like they're quietly burying the Uzi Pro, and I understand it, but I don't really like it. I mean, I like the gun. I don't like the fact that it's didn't really catch on as much as it should have. I mean, look like the Evo 3, the Micro or whatever, the Mini, the little Evo 3. That's cool enough, but the Uzi Pro is also cool. The Hellion is surprisingly cool, isn't it? I'll tell you who helped me get mine. It was actually Sammy the Dwarf. He kind of knew I was looking for one, and he said, "Hey, I know where there's one at." And sure enough, I called them up, and they were really cool about it. And I picked it up. I'm gonna walk and go drink my coffee for a second, so I won't be able to read the chat. But anyway, yeah, no, the Hellion is one thing. It's been reliable. I think I like it more than Fox. I think J-Ro liked it quite a bit. He shot it some, but that's come out to the range with us maybe half a dozen times, which isn't bad considering we've also got Augs and the tactical tuna and whatnot. But yeah, and I know they do the longer barrel versions now. I might check out one of those. But when you look at the military guns, even though they have adopted both sizes, it seems like in the field they're preferring the shorter, we'll call it a carbine length, which is not surprising in the modern day and time. I'm sorry, I know nothing about Rossi side by sides. I know, shocker. That would have been more Jay's thing, He that was even he, but yeah, I don't know about cowboy guns. I'm Generation X, so we weren't really too big into cowboys. Yep, still live in Arkansas, still in the Ozark Mountains. Hey, Michael. Not much going on here, Michael. Just kind of avoiding doing chores. It was a long day, not a bad day. Just I needed to sit down for a bit. Yeah, I've still got one of those captured Russian AKs from Israel. Oh yeah, they were cool. You could get Type ones, Type twos, Type threes. They had all. They even had some AKMs. Yeah. No, I don't think IWI is going to bring back the Gen 1 Ace as a permanent feature. You may be right about a special run. Honestly, you know what I'd really like them to do, and I've said this before. I want them to do a Vietnam version. I would buy the shit out of a Vietnam Army configured Galil Ace. Check them out. They're a little more conventional. They're not quite a traditional Galil, but they're kind of in between an Ace and a traditional, and I just think that would be cool. Yeah, my AK-55, my SLR 100H. It's a great gun. I've had all of them over the time. I've had a couple of Gordon Techs. I've had that MSC, MSR, MSC. I've had some of the Blue Ridge. Those were actually nice, the Blue Ridge guns. Have I had an OOW? Maybe not. I don't know. Either way, the one I've got now, it's an MSC, and I like it because it's phosphated all the match. And I know it's the silliest reason to like a gun, but they use the original machined mag catch instead of the stamped one that came with the Bulgarian receiver. It's the tiniest detail, but it makes me happy because a mag catch is something you touch all the time, and I just notice it and appreciate it. The one good thing about the Blue Ridge 100H, some of them at least, they would weld up and then ground flush the barrel pin, and why they did that was the illusion that it was a thread in barrel because those Arsenal receivers they were press and pin barrel receivers. So what they did, they turned the threads off the Hungarian barrels and pressed them in. And most everyone, including my gun, they just left the pin exposed like you would see on Arsenal. But Blue Ridge doing that was a neat little attention to detail. Not all Blue Ridges are that way, but I have never once bought an auction pistol, like live auction, proxy bid. I just I mean, then again, I'm fucking blind, so I can't even see what I'm bidding on. So it probably would not be wise for me to do that in the first place. I'm actually surprised the Walther P5 Compact's not going for more than 2,000. Because while surplus P5s came into the country, even when they were surplus, they were $500. Does that not sound high? HKP7s were 450. Yeah, at one time, Walther P5s were selling for more than HKP7s. But the P5 Compact never really came in surplus. In fact, they only made about 10,000 P5 Compacts in total, including the ones that went to the British. So they're very rare in the US. I found mine years ago, and of all places, it was in Conway, Arkansas, which was only an hour and a half, 2 hours away. So I grabbed one of my little brothers and said, "We're going to Conway." We hit the bank up at 8 a.m. on a Saturday, got the money, went down there and picked it up. I couldn't believe it. I found a P5 compact in the box in my own state, and it was great. And I think even then, I think I paid 13 or 1500 and was happy to do so because you just don't find them. The chat was doing really good with me, and I think it might have finally stopped. Let me try it. Okay, now it's scrolling. I wish I knew why my speech would stop reading the chat occasionally. Yeah, the Mac 9556s can be interesting. There's a lot of variation. There's a couple of different Chinese mags, although those should take Noriko mags if memory serves. Because there's also a Polytech pattern, but that is a different model usually. Oh, I wish they still made a lot of things like they used to. Shit, even fast food. Remember when fast food actually used to be pretty darn tasty and didn't cost an arm and a leg and didn't give you the squirts an hour later? Remember when Subway wasn't 15 fucking dollars for a terrible sub? I'm never letting that go. I'm never letting that freaking meal that Jero and I had at Subway for $35 for 2 footlongs and a cookie go. They're supposed to give us 2 cookies each, and they gave us 2 cookies total. So they even screwed us on cookies. Mm. On your question on calibers, check out that recent AK FAQ video I did. I addressed actually all 3 calibers in it because people have asked me recently about all of them. $49.57. Yeah, the kits are out there. It's a cool gun. You know, that's a gun. There's very little information about its service history and even not much on its development on the internet. I mean, you can find the basics, but there's not a lot of detail. Screen is supposed to be black. Why would I not? Why would you really want to see me sitting in front of a camera? That just seems boring. Too bad I can't play you music though. That's something I wish I could do. You know, 1200 for an Uzi Pro, honestly, doesn't sound bad unless it was like heavily used because the cheapest they ever were was about 800. A bit more often they were about 1,000 for the brace version. Um, one good thing was the mags were pretty inexpensive then. You could usually get a mag for 10 to 20 bucks depending on the size. They did 20, 25, and 32s. No, the tactical tune is dead. FN dropped it even from their military website. So civilians, they did that final run when we did that recent tactical tuna video. That gun with the high serial number was pretty much them using up their leftover parts to build a few more for America. But no, that one's come and gone. It's funny because I've gone through so many stages with the FS 2000. I really, really wanted one back in 2006, and I got it. I actually paid it off with a friend over like 6 months. And then I really fell out of love with it. And then I got one again when the standard version, because they released the tactical before the standard. And then Jay's father-in-law taught me out of it. Okay, fine. But yeah, now I'm kind of back into liking it, and I think because it's finally circled back around, it's no longer a modern cutting-edge gun. It's retro, kind of like the Bushmaster M17 or the original AUG A1 or A2. And when the gun's retro, you hold it to a different standard, if that makes sense. Hey, Space Cat. Yeah, there's probably 7.62 by 25 Junkrat surplus. It's probably also being shot at people in Ukraine right now. That stuff kind of dried up years ago. It pops up now and again, but most nations switched from that to Makarov or something else years ago, and it is what it is. But I buy commercial. I think I've mostly been shooting PPU recently, and it wasn't crazy expensive. I just look for a good deal on it, and then I'll stock up. I don't shoot it a whole lot, but I always keep a few hundred rounds around. I don't know if I'd call the Uzi Pro antiquated, but I would. I mean, it's a matter of math and years. Yeah, the Evo 3 is a newer design. It was a clean sheet design. The Uzi Pro is an updated Uzi pistol, micro Uzi, and I've always had a soft spot for the micro. But the ones we had back in the 80s, no stock, no brace attachment, no form, they were just so meh. So it's kind of the micro I always wished I had. And again, I wouldn't pay 3,000, 4,000 for one. Hell no. But for 1,000 ish, give or take, it's just a fun gun. And you know what? Everyone that I give it to enjoys it. It's a very low learning curve gun. I've handed it to complete novices and they mastered it within just a few magazines. So it's just fun. And also because of the brace, you can hand it to kids. Yeah, unfortunately, military furniture won't fit it because the VHS they have over there doesn't have the same type of removable pistol grip. You can get approximation. Now, there we talked about 3D printing AK receivers earlier, and I was skeptical, but right there is a great thing that could be 3D printed. Someone should do that. Someone should 3D print a Hellion compatible grip that looks like the VHS 2 grip. I'd be all over that. Okay, the hero talk. Now I'm just hearing Foo Fighters in my head. I actually saw them in concert a couple times in the '90s. I mean, couldn't see Nirvana anymore, so what do you do? It's not too bad here weather-wise, but it's a little cool. It's just kind of bleak outside. It's been cloudy all day and windy. I appreciate you being here. Who was that? Is that Bismarck? I made sure. Remember, I have to have my speech read it to me. So I also have a couple of models of the actual Bismarck here. I just sold the 22 Uzi, and it had a couple of mags with it. I sold them with the gun. Yeah, those guns are high now. Yep, they sure are discontinued. I think the one I sold brought like 600, which is funny because that's not much less than what I paid for my first 9 millimeter Uzi Model A. See, yeah, I'm glad you looked at the Vietnamese Galil. Um, I just like it. It's modern, but not too modern. Kind of reminds me of some of the late style micro Galils that IMI/IWI put out. I have a feeling Fox will pick up a spear. He's been talking about it, but uh, I don't. I think I mentioned this last week on the live stream. One part of me would want to get it in a more common caliber, but then it's not military. And the part of me that's a military collector would want it in 6.8, but you can't get the ammo. Now, Sega said they're going to start offering some of the ammo next year, but I'm sure it'll be hard to get, inexpensive, and limited supply. And the spears themselves, for dealers, they'll sell you one, but it's in a package. So you can't just buy the gun, which is already expensive. Essentially, the package is $5,500, and the other guns in the package are just shit that no one wants. So I haven't ordered one. But I bet sooner or later one will come around. Hey, I tried to tell everyone when the Gen 2 was coming out that the Gen 1 was cool and the Gen 2, but no, they wanted the AR stocks and all that. I get it though. But still, the Gen 1 is it's an ace. To me, the Gen 1 is a modern, but it still has Galil going on. The sights are very Galil and everything. You look at the Gen 2, it just looks like an AR, or at least Half AR, it lost some identity to me. Yeah, I sold Chris Bartacci's Gen 1 Ace for him last year, and yeah, it brought 16, 1700. So yeah, about the same as a Gen 2 or even a little more. Cool. Someone else who has an MSC. Mine has been great. Does yours seem just perfectly gassed? Mine just does not thump you. It just really feels balanced. Yeah, the other variants and the STVs. Yeah, it's just neat. Since they've done like the Rock and Lock commemoratives, I think they should definitely do the Vietnam ones. Yeah, unfortunately, you can't just buy a Gen 2 and get. I mean, where are you going to find Gen 1 furniture? It's a different block for the stock. The handguard system is totally different. It's not going to be as easy as you think. That's what Jared said. $5 footlongs, or maybe he said 5-year old footlongs. I'm not sure. Anyway, the MC Forever reminds me of the Krusty Burger episode of The Simpsons. Yep, the Russian American Army. I mean, RAA was pretty much what evolved into KUSA. Like, at least I used to. I haven't been there in over a year, but I used to like Firehouse subs. Hey, everything okay? $9? I'm telling you, J Ro and I got each a sandwich. No extra meat, no specialties. He got like a chicken teriyaki, and I got a pizza or something or an Italian. It was 35 freaking dollars. Honestly, on the SKS, which one? Um, Russian, Chinese, Albanian, Romanian, Yugoslavian? Let me know. Why is it so hard to find information on Chinese SKSs? Because it's China. They think everything's a secret. These are the people that intentionally scramble GPS coordinates because they're paranoid about spying. Yeah, it's they just don't release that stuff. So what we know is kind of been pieced together by very dedicated people on forums. Yeah, I mean, if your Uzi Pro is new, I'd say that's a heck of a deal, really, in today. I'd like to get an R4. I had an R4 build once. I think it was done by Jeff Hibbley. But when I got the LM5, I'm like, I really don't need both. And it was pretty clear which one was keeper. We've got Jersey Mike's. I prefer Jersey Mike's over Jimmy John's. I hate when I lose videos or think I do. I archive. I, I've I've got I think about 20 25 terabytes on my desktop and then other storage around. I try to keep duplicates in more than once. Keeping dupes has really saved my butt because sometimes you just accidentally delete stuff. I go on kind of housekeeping missions on my computer and get a little crazy sometimes. Yeah, the NHM 90s, the RPKs are pretty cool. We've done a few videos on them. The trick is finding the clubfoot stock. If you get a clubfoot stock with it, value it. They're the Chinese clubfoots are not the easiest to come by. Yeah, finally that Valmet I had on Gunbroker sold tonight. The M76, the tube folder. I would have loved to have kept it, but I've got too many other projects going on in my life. So it's fun to do a video with it. We should have time to go out and shoot it, but just didn't have time to go out somewhere where we could really fire 308 effectively. So it is what it is. Well, I mean, Jody, technically I see nothing. I mean, the absence of something is just nothing. It's not black, it's just kind of nothing. It's kind of like, what does your hand see, or your foot, or your butt? You know, that's how it is for me. I know what you meant about the NHN. I understood. I didn't want to bust your balls because those Chinese designations confuse. On the repro DOE parts, stay tuned. Actually, I got a tracking number on a package. Yeah, upcoming video. Let's just leave it at that. I really want to get the Hellion, the VHS2 with the, like you said, grenade ring bayonet lug. But my original Hellion is such a nice shooter. You know what I mean? It's even though I like the looks of the newer ones, it's hard to trade a tried and tested gun. You know what I mean? You say about hunting deer with an Uzi Pro, but my brother shot a deer with his service gun. It was a Glock. I think it was I'm trying to think what he had then. I think it was just 40. The police departments had all of them nines, 40s, 45s, but he actually legally shot a deer with his Glock because he was going down. It was hunting season, and there you go. He tagged it and dressed it. Why would I own a Savage 99? It's cool that your MSC also shoots well. You don't hear much about them. They're kind of the forgotten one. It's almost always Gordon Tech or sometimes Blue Ridge you hear about. Favorite PCC? All things considered, I'm going to say my Sterling. I love the classics of it. I love that it's an actual British gun because we don't get many of those, and it just shoots so well, and the mags are so fun to load. And of course, it's a Stormtrooper blaster. Sorry, I don't really know anything about a Barrett machine gun collab. On your Tula SKS, probably more to do with your bullet than your gun. A lot of those traditional military guns don't work great with modern bullets. Soft? Are you using hollow point or soft tip bullets? If you are, try using more military. And if you are using military, just try changing that sounds like more of an ammo problem. Could be a feed problem, but I'd try changing up the ammo before anything else. I don't know. I really don't know if they'll do any more VHS 2s. I hope so. It seems like it's been a success. There's not bad press about it. People that own them really like them. So I know Springfield has had ups and downs in the gun community, but I've got to admit, since the pre-ban days, I've really liked what Springfield's offered. The FALs they did some cool M14s. They did the BM59, which is one of my all-time favorites. The SAR3/SAR8 was nice for what they were. Hell, they even did some Galils, if anyone remembers. They imported some Galils for a brief time. And it's kind of cool to see them getting back into importing rifles. Norinco SKSs. Again, there's a lot of variation in that, but let's just roughly say for a matching one, good shape, not one of those really kind of dried out stock ones that came over from a third party country, kind of a legitimate breed man with pretty bluing. You're probably 6 to 750 now. Are you saying I'm bombing? I'm sorry. As far as FN, I don't know what FN's doing. Uh, Keep in mind, there's more than one FN. I don't know. I hadn't heard much about him, but I haven't really been keeping my finger on that pulse too much. On the 20 barrels for the Hellion, I don't know how easy it is to remove the existing barrel. It's not like on an AUG where it just QDs. It might be easy. I just don't know. I don't actually own a 30-30. I've shot them my whole life. They were very, very popular here before 760 by 39 came around. It's kind of the light rifle alternative to 30-06 or 308. I mean, I can order you a Gambit, whatever, but you're going to pay for it. I don't think it's worth it, but I can probably get it. Yeah, I don't really like Tula ammo. Tula ammo. It's not military grade stuff. I'd try changing it up. Try different ammo than Tula. Even Wolf or Red Army might do better. You know what's funny is, and if you could see, you do realize my room is dark, right? Like I don't have any lights turned on in here because, again, why would I? I was just teasing about the bomb comment. I'm not. How to say this? Well, I definitely appreciate compliments. I sincerely do. They make me slightly uncomfortable because often I don't feel worthy. I'm not trying to make a deal out. You know what I mean? That it's, and I'm not. I'm definitely not beaten down. I definitely have confidence, but at the same time, let's just say I was raised in a household where praise was sparing. But my parents, again, weren't abusive. They were just sparing with things. But when they did give a compliment, it did matter. I had to survive. I'm fucking joining the zombies. If I had to go to a zombie apocalypse, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, we did a video on the RFB, the 308 Caltech. Was not at all tempted to keep it. I mean, it worked okay, but pass. I don't think they're going to ban transferable machine guns, but you're not far off from what I'm worried they could do about freezing. Because look what happened to our friends in Canada. All they have to do to effectively ban pre 86 guns is just stop giving new stamps, tax stamps, or not even stop doing it, just like drag it out, make it such a headache of a process. Because that's how bureaucrats do things. And if it was just a regular gun, $2,000, $3,000, but you look at transferables, 20,000 start to be the low end for a lot of them, and high end is well more than I've ever made in a year. Don't text me. You can email me. I mean, you can text me. I can't read text though. Misha is Russian for Mike, essentially. Informal nickname. And that Co is company. It actually dates back to the old days of ICQ. Because why does Chinese ammo not function in Eastern? Because China's an American ally. They pivoted from the Eastern Bloc to the U.S. in the 70s, mostly thanks to Nixon, ironically. If I don't ask you about the chili up in Seattle, Fox will be mad. Like I said, I did ask if he wanted to join the night. He would have if he had time, but he just got back in from one trip and he's actually packing to go to the Redneck Riviera this weekend, Branson, Missouri. So, the lack of dimple on the wasser is a thing. Eh. The nice thing is, it's actually not a problem with the AES 10B, the remaining RPK, because RPKs, except for the early generations, didn't have dimples either. So, yeah, do that, I guess. But mm, it's fine. Keep in mind the Wasser at one time was a $300 gun. So, for that money, it just wasn't a big deal. Braille's obsolete. Google up a picture of a book in Braille. They are huge. They literally come in small crates because you can't scale them down. It has to be a certain size. Where Braille is still useful in modern society is signs, labels on doors, elevator buttons, things like that. But when it comes to reading books, I don't. I mean, it's computer. Now you can get Braille output displays for computers, like I use a TTS. But if someone wanted to use Braille, there's little pins that it's like a little pin frame that sticks up Braille. But I've never had one of those. I've played with them before, but never bought one. Underwater bullets. Actually, Russia did a lot with that way back in the day. It's not really new, but it's kind of a resurgence, a regenesis. I guess it's good when the dolphins get uppity. Gives us something to fight that all. Everyone's worried about space force. We could have sea force. We just go under the waves and shoot dolphins in the face. Yeah, with Thanksgiving coming up next week, I might live stream, but I thought I got nothing to do tonight right now for a couple hours, so let's do it tonight because the weekend's about on us, and so seems like a good time. You know what's really funny about the Chinese ammo? It shows up randomly at random places, even in recent times, Walmart. By the way, I've been answering a lot of your questions. A super chat wouldn't hurt. I could use another cup of coffee. If you can't tell, I'm very not comfortable self promoting, but it's just one of those needs and must things. On the Yugo M64, I recently did a video on the M65, the RPK, even though they call it M64, that build. And then I've got my old Reweld M70. And honestly, I was happy with the M70, but that RPK came around, and I thought, why not? That's one we've got on the short list to take out and shoot. Yeah, no, I don't do text. I can't do text. I mean, that's just what it is. But you can email me at ozarkbeararms@gmail.com. Ozark, like the area, bear, like the animal, arms, and there you go at Gmail. They had some of the UFs. I just chose not to order them because, good golly, they were 2 grand. But, you know, I do like the PPS 43. I like the PPSH 41 too. I just kind of like the lines of them. Good night. See Cal's stepping up. Get it, Cal. Besides, if I don't get some super chats, Fox is gonna think I'm not doing my job here. The thing about 7.6, the thing about Chuckraft. Sorry, I know you're on another drink soon, but it was hard to find before the surplus because I bought my first gun in for. I think my first gun was a BZ-52 right when those came in, and it wasn't the easiest to find ammo for. You had to look around, and then all the surplus came in, and it got easier. But then you had to worry about, was it machine gun ammo? Was it pistol ammo? So frankly, I've always kind of just looked for, you know, PPE or commercial stuff. I've never much relied on the military for the pistols. Now the PPSH 41s, the PPS 43Cs, and all those, yeah, that's a different story. Leary, I'm trying to think how my speech says. It says Emino Leary. I don't think that's the correct pronunciation, but I definitely appreciate it. Hey, 2 more of those, and you could actually buy a fucking Subway sandwich and then regret it for 2 hours. I actually like Paul Harrell. He's one of those people that doesn't get in a hurry, and people say, yeah, I realize that I do talk slow sometimes, but it's really me, A, thinking about things before I say them, and B, personally, when I hear people talk online and they trip over their own words just to talk really, really fast and they get a better than they can't say, this isn't an auction. You're not an auctioneer. Chill out. Uh, think about it. Yeah, I don't, I like to relax. So, I know it's not for everyone, but hey, it stopped scrolling on me again. Again, it's doing better tonight than before. I'll figure this out eventually. I got it to scroll before again. Sorry, guys, I clicked the button. Give me a sec. Computer, would you quit being weird? Well, guys, while I'm trying to figure out what button I accidentally clicked, trying to make this scroll again, let's talk about the topic of arm braces. If there's anything, and this isn't just me gonna be talking at you, I want to hear what you've heard too, because you know, sometimes I get too busy just doing. Okay, I got it scrolling. Yeah, I just gotta find my place. Bear with me one sec. Oh, scrolling through. Do. What I can tell you on the brace thing is they haven't told us dealers anything. Like there hasn't been an official ruling coming down from the ATF dealers can or can't sell. But the fact that Palmetto State has put brace pistols back on their website is a pretty good indicator of things to me. I'm still scrolling through. I've got a man. Well, we've talked a lot. Good golly, this thing is slow. It's got to be a quicker way to scroll for me than this. You should just play elevator music at this point. Scrolling. Let me try something here, guys. I wonder if it screws up on me when the ads pop up. By the way, I have no way to not do ads, guys. I put it on conservative, but that's about the best they let me do. The problem is I have to scroll through all the chat when it resets me like this. And when it gets long, it's a long way down to manually scroll. So I apologize, but I don't know a good workaround. I'll figure it out though. I'm gonna try something. I hope I don't screw up the stream, but I'm gonna try refreshing the page. So that makes it better. Hopefully you can still hear me. Nothing can go smoothly forever. Yeah, that didn't work. So I'm to scroll down manually. There's got to be a quick way to skip down. I know you don't know this, but I might as well talk to you when I'm doing ready to do this. Getting close to the end. Again, I sincerely apologize, but welcome to life with the TTS. I don't think people realize sometimes it can be very slow. Okay, I think I'm caught back up. Okay, so I'm caught back up. At least I was, so I'm probably behind, but I'm gonna try to skip ahead as quick as I can. Um, First, what do I think about the PSA 101 about this? About the other PSAs, it's fine, but it's not a replica. I think generic profile's $20. I think more of. I appreciate that. I really don't know how the Israeli Hamas thing is going to impact guns. It kind of just depends how much of a stockpile they have, frankly, of semi-auto. On the other hand, you might say they want to make us sell more so they can fund their stuff. I don't know. Why press and pen over threaded? It's better. Um, it's easier to manufacture. It's much easier to headspace, and it's easier to rebarrel with the press and pin versus a screw in. And again, it's just easier to machine. Can surplus machine gun ammo hurt your Tokarev pistol? I don't know, but do you really want to find out considering what Polish Tokarevs are selling for now? I don't. Thanks again, Kyle. Okay, for me only, got it. So I can't give it to Fox. I'll have to say, yeah, let me know what I can't get to Fox and I'll just tease him. I'll buy him a Subway and buy me something good. I love the Makarov. Look at the recent video on the Makarov. I've always enjoyed them. I have never owned a High Point, but Jay had one and we did a couple of videos with it. I'm so very happy for him. He enjoyed his High Point. It's adorable. You think the PPS 43C actually has a warranty at any rate. It doesn't. Oh, the VZ82 is a great little pistol. It was also one of the very first, like quote unquote, high cap guns to come in because they started coming in right after the ban came off in '05. Arm braces, I get it. I understand. And you know me, I'm a purist, but there are times and places where an arm brace was handy. Some people can't own a SBR for various local reasons or whatever. Also, what I kind of like about braces, you're not married to the gun yet. Like you can get it, shoot it, make sure it's an accurate gun, and if you like it, then you can SBR it. But if you start off with an SBR, you're stuck with it. Yeah, as far as I know, Zastava's still doing guns because Fime Group, MSR, they got a fresh batch in like last week from there. Hey, Blind Rocket, are you still in my thing, or are you actually blind too? Oh dear God, they're doing brace knockout. Why does that not surprise? Never mind. It's hilarious. Thanks, Cal. Hey, probably $2 to buy a brace knockoff. No, I appreciate it. I did actually have to buy a new coffee machine today, so that legitimately will probably go to pay for the coffee machine. Hey, if Fox wanted money, he should have been here, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and more than one judge has ruled on this, and that's kind of what I was saying. If you go back and look at my black box videos on my personal channel back in January, it was pretty much just guys wait this out because legally they don't even have a pinky toe to stand on. You can't keep switching your mind up. That invalidates any court case. The thing is, who are they going to appeal it to? It ended up going to the same court unless they try to take it to the Supreme Court. And I don't think the current Supreme Court justices we have would even want to hear this case. And if they did, call me naive, and maybe I am, but I think they would rule that the brace thing was unconstitutional. What do you mean he wanted to build an actual AK-47? Thanks, River. Yeah, River. My speech says some of your names very oddly. Honestly, no. I don't think the ATF will. Because I think the brace thing was a few people at the ATF that I think that was their little pet peeve. Others at the ATF groaned when they did it because they understood the can of worms that they opened. And I don't think so because again, every time it gets struck out, it just makes it weaker and weaker, and then you get into effectively entrapment because it is clear that an average person cannot reasonably be expected to know if a brace is or isn't legal. Any defense attorney worth his salt would get him off on that. But yeah, the ATF's not going to issue a statement because this is an embarrassment for them. I think that it was an embarrassment. Remember all that crap they talked about imported pistols and they walked it back? This has been a clusterfuck for the ATF since January. See, that's my thought is, the brace effectively makes a pistol safer. And this is a good, and on top of that, it was meant for disabled people. I've always said if you ever wanted to go to court with it, get a guy or woman or anyone who lost a limb in Afghanistan or Iraq for our country who had a brace pistol. I mean, what jury is gonna? Yeah, you know what I mean. And it's not even like being duplicitous. That's what they were made for. Well, and even like for someone like me who can't see, ask Fox or J-Ro, am I safer with or without a brace? I guarantee you it's with. Hey, King Honey Badger. I also like the Honey Badger. It's a cool gun. Thanks, Ben. The CZ Bren 2 carbine was always kind of a hodgepodge of Czech and US. Part of it was 922R, but a big part of it was just how easy it is to import a pistol and how big of a pain in the ass it is to import a rifle. Yeah, the Vepr 12 is a cool ass shotgun. Back in the day, Jay and I did a full video saying buy one now, and I'm not blaming you because I mean you probably weren't in the market then, but when they were 7.99, we were like, guys, buy these. This is an awesome deal, and those were the side folders too. I paid full price for my side folder when they came out, like 11.50 or something. No regrets whatsoever. And the mags are cheaper for the Vepr 12 than the Sega 12 too. The thing about SBRs, and I'm not saying don't get one, but keep in mind you're on a registry. You're on a list. They've got your name and your serial number and your address, and you're not allowed to leave the state with it. So while I understand the kind of other side of braces on that point, SBRs aren't without their strings as well. Someone should have just sold braces as elephant dildos. Yeah, I agree. It definitely smelled like an ATF trap, a very, very stinky one. I wonder if Jared from Subway was involved. I mean, honestly, on the pistol versus SMG, you had to just look at the type of ammo and then go to Sir Google and ask Google. Different batches, different things. No, I actually could use one more Gen 1 A stock myself. The courts do expect you to know the law, but it doesn't always work out that way. There's reasonable expectations. They also don't expect you to be a lawyer. Yeah, the Biden admin isn't helping things, but this all got started. If you go back and look at black boxes, we were talking about them re-examining braces even in 2020. This is honestly an outgrowth of the bump stock thing. And they talked about that in 2018. They were basically like, okay, we're going to knock out bump stocks. They also had to be in their bonnet about FTRs and then the braces. So it was kind of part of the plan. And it wasn't the ATF as an entire, it was just kind of group of people in the ATF that I don't know if they were just bucking for a promotion or if I don't know. They're assholes. Let's just leave it at that. The nice thing is, not all this stuff is going in front of a jury, too, though. A lot of this stuff's getting struck down by a judge. I have no idea what'll happen with the people under the amnesty. I would assume they just got a free SBR, but I could very well be wrong. Okay, when you said the ATF just restricted smoke devices, all I thought of in my head was the smoking man from the X Files. Honestly, I don't know anything about the Franklin Armory. That's more of a Fox question. That's why. See, he is useful. I promise, he really is. Well, I'm live for now, but I did mention I might join the zombies if the apocalypse happens. So then I'd be living dead. Are you SBRing your KP9 or your KR9? Because if you use your KP9, you shouldn't have to chop anything. You just throw a stock on a KP9. But if it's a KR9, yeah, you'll need to chop her down. Good news is at least the front sight base on the KR9 does have the spring-loaded detent already. Oh, sorry. Now I scrolled down. Again, Texas speech. I love my KR9. I got the early one back in 2019, and she's just been a great little runner. Doop doop doop. Guys, I'm happy to tell you when I don't know something, and I know nothing about flashbangs. And the only thing I know about smoke grenades or like smoke bombs we used to play with on the 4th of July. Had a lot of fun with those. Well, I did show my North American arms in that Bond Arms video. I know the Bond Arms video wasn't going to get a huge number of views, but guys, go check it out if you haven't. We had so much. We were literally both sleep deprived that day. We had no sleep. We've been out at the cabin all day doing like survey stuff, completely blasted out of our heads. And that's actually right before I did the first live stream here. So it was just nuts. But we're trying to be our authentic selves. And it was a lot of fun. But yeah, my little North American, you could definitely consider a Saturday night special. I also had one of the Smith and Wesson, what was it? Model 340. I think it's either a 340 or a 342. The difference is 357 versus 38 special. But one of those little air weight, air light guns they used to do with like a 2-inch barrel. That thing would beat the crap out of you. And to me, it was fun as hell. I'm gonna get up 1 second, again, and get another drink. Do, do, do. I'm surprised more cats haven't jumped on me. But no, the Brace situation is kind of shaking out, I think, pretty good. If PSA is doing it, I feel pretty comfortable. I just it was a waiting game. And I have a confession. I know this will shock you. I didn't take the braces off my guns this whole time. Not that I have a ton of them, but why? And yeah, new coffee machine's working pretty well. I just didn't bring braces out and record videos with them. That was my one concession. But yeah, I think um, assuming YouTube itself doesn't do anything weird about braces, I know Fox has had a number of guns with braces he's wanted to talk about and review. And again, I've actually been meaning to bring my own Uzi Pro out for a while. Space Catboy, which cat does the $10 go to? Who gets the tuna treat? Mine have been very cuddly, mostly because it's been cold, or at least cooler. They don't like it. But yeah, no one's on me right now. But the cat tree is right behind my chair, so they usually sit on it and they watch me. Oh dear, it's saying the whole more comments below thing. Please don't screw me up again. I'm quite sure it's the ads that's screwing me up. So we can get annoyed by them together. All right, I'm trying to find the best way to refresh this. Let's try this. Clicking the more chats below button is what I screwed up last time. You would think that would be the button to click, but apparently it isn't. Not for me anyway. Okay, I think I got it here. If I just hit the F5 to refresh the page after the commercial, it doesn't seem to reset my cursor. I mean, Jay and I still talk. Not as much as we used to, but I kind of knew that when he was going into his new high-profile job. But yeah, I mean, I miss a lot of people, but we chatted. In fact, I need to email him back, but he's really gotten into hiking lately, and I was telling him out at the cabin area, there's some good hiking trails, and he kind of perked up at that. So I'm hoping he'll want to come out and do some hiking in the spring. Yeah, the Uzi Pro is just fun, isn't it? It's just fun on a bun. I don't know. Again, I know that there are better PCCs or PPCs, whatever it be, but you know, I grew up in the '80s. It's an Uzi. Need I say more? Thanks, Wolf. Auto 5, like the traditional old Browning shotgun, they're cool. They're a little fidgety by today's standards. You got to kind of get the balance right. But I actually like the military ones. I've had a couple of those. Was it the 720 model? But yeah, they're cool. I need to get more shotguns. I don't run across ones that really trip my trigger much. For years, I wanted a authentic World War II trench gun, and a buddy of mine after I did him a big favor with some lawyer stuff years ago, hooked me up with one of his for a really good deal. And I'd love to find a real Ithaca from the 60s or 70s in trench gun, but until I do, the modern reproduction for the money, pretty cool too. Good night. Yeah, I'll probably be heading out pretty soon. Sorry, I had to refresh it again. Luckily, I don't think it put me all at the top again, but it did set me back a bit. Okay, I'm back. So that wasn't too bad. Yeah, Jay just kind of went off, but I'm hopeful one day, maybe when he has more time, he'll step back. That's kind of what happened with J-Ro and I. We knew each other in college and kept in touch after college for a number of years, but then kind of lost touch for about 6 years, aside from just the occasional phone call. And then he kind of came, but so sometimes people circle back around. So yeah, I'm still hopeful. Again, there's no it kind of cracked me up, and I think him too, that there was these kind of undercurrents that we had some weird behind the scenes split, or there was an argument. No, we're very boring people. We're not very dramatic people like that. If we had problems with each other, which you don't work with someone for 10 years and not have something, but we just talked it out, and that was that. But yeah, he got a new job, ended up working crazy hours, and also got into hiking, like I said, and then gun prices went crazy and COVID. And yeah, like you just needed a change. You say KS USA? I assume you like Kalashnikov USA. As good as which arsenals? I mean, they're certainly good guns. Are they as good as a Sega? I don't know if I'd go that far, but are they as good as like SLR 107R? Yeah, I'd say so. I've gone on record. I was never super impressed with SLR 107Rs though. I didn't think they were just like overtly bad. I just thought they were just mediocre. Yeah, the Maverick is fine. It's a good beater gun, kind of like a lot of the Chinese knockoffs. But if you do bump up to a 590 or 590A1, you do get more. They feel more sturdy. By the way, that was another video. Those who didn't see the Mossenberg video, where we all got together, including Jay. That was a lot of fun to put together. We can get controversial, but I know nothing. I mean, I know what Thunder Ranch is, but I know nothing about that. I don't. I don't know. You gotta remember, guns are my day-to-day job. I'm ordering guns for people, shipping guns. So when I'm doing my downtime, if I feel like doing guns, I usually do videos for you guys, or I do other things completely unrelated and look at my personal channel. So I really don't know. I really like Ithaca shotguns, even the newer ones. Yeah, I said in that AK FAQ video, I think the Braille is about as good as it gets. It's a military spec gun, H&H barrel. I mean, Radom is just it's they're known for their quality barrels. They're the current imports all have the three rivets. Yeah, pretty good way to mount an optic on it. Uh, rails are readily available. It feeds from not just reliable but affordable mags. The M90 is nice too. I really do like it. The Galil is fine. Nothing against it. But as I've said before, I really have a hard time thinking of a Galil as a straight AK. I think that's doing IMI, IWI a disservice. I think they made it a different enough gun. It's really its own thing. The Sam 5, look, I really like mine. I picked up one of the imports when they first came out in 2020, but we can't deny that they've had some issues. And Arsenal was kind of forced to admit to some of them, but they were very cagey about it, which is SOP for Arsenal. But good God, learn to be transparent. Just tell people what's going on. I don't do 118 scale. I do 172 and I do 144. And the only cars I have are like armored cars and militaries. I do have a collection of Land Rovers I picked up for Christmas a couple of years ago. A little kind of box set from Oxford Collections. It was neat. It was a little phone box that had all these different lorries and ambulances, and some of them are military, a lot of them are. But so that's probably the closest to cars. But even it is in a 176 scale, which is basically 172. I can open a bottle with lots of things. Some people try to do it with their teeth. Oh, the Thunder Ranch was a Visca. Yeah, I rarely get into the whole thing about, oh, this gun explodes. Viscas explode. I mean, in this, I'm always willing to say everyone makes a lemon. More than one Visca has exploded. And there's a lemon like the Wasser 3 where maybe it doesn't work great for us or whatever. But exploding is a whole other level of lemon. Hey, DJ. For RPKs, which Romanians are one of the ones that are in spec with Russian, you don't really have a lot of options. But I've had perfectly good luck out of my Legion USA gun, which was built with Molot parts using a Nodak receiver and chrome line green mountain barrel. The Green Mountain barrels kind of got a little bit of a negative reputation because of Century, but the truth is, they're in spec. They have perfectly fine chambers. They offer them chrome lined. Would I want one over at an imported barrel? Hell no. But meh. And we've been talking about Uzis all night. Believe it or not, Green Mountain makes a really good Uzi barrel. From what I've been told, it was kind of a hobby project of theirs to make a really good Uzi barrel. And since the Uzi has a cutie barrel, if you've got an Uzi machine gun or whatever, I would definitely buy some Green Mountains as spare replacement barrels. Yeah, with RPKs, you're going to just take what you can get. Keep in mind, too, the Bulgarian quote unquote RPK barrel is not Russian Mulot RPK spec. Look, I want to be honest about Picard. I enjoyed the shit out of it. Now, did season one have some questionable decisions? Yes, 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 yes. But it also made some good decisions. All in all, it's kind of a 50-50. I'm one of those weird people that really enjoyed season two. And I think it's because it was slow and talky. There wasn't much I got lost in. Was it perfect? No. Did they have some questionable decisions? Yes, but I'd say the good outweighed the bad for me. And keep in mind, they managed to record that during all the COVID restrictions, so I give them a little slack there. And season three was just pure fan service, but in the best way and tradition possible. And what season three managed to do that's really hard for a series to do is make you really care about a new character. You know who I'm talking about, the dipshit from Chicago. When there's all these old characters on screen, like if the Star Wars sequel trilogy had done that, they'd be great. So yeah, all in all, that was definitely a win. Again, not perfect. I could nitpick, but I thought it was time well spent. Sorry, I had to reset again, but I'm not too far out. James is actually, but this is where I'm at now. I like James at TFBTV because he has a great sense of humor about himself. But remember, guns are his hobby. His full time job, he's a lawyer. So yeah, his experience can be a little limited. Honestly, I would say don't subscribe to saying something is done out of malice or duplicity or greed when it could just be ignorance or lack of experience, or maybe the one he got worked great for him. So, yeah, I'll defend him because I have no reason to think he's dishonest and he's been a pal of mine for a long while. Okay, Peanut has entered the chat. She just jumped on my lap. Peanut is the three legged cat. All right, chat. You're being weird. Not you guys, but the thing on my screen. Peanut is now kneading dough with her one paw on my chest. All right. I'm sorry I got long. I'm getting here. I'm trying to find my sport. Having the cat on my lap doesn't help. I'm caught up. I don't know who makes Uzi Pro barrels. Since the gun hasn't really. I'm going to click a button. You know this is dangerous. Well, that was uneventful. Oh no. Peanut just realized she doesn't have my undivided attention. Yeah, Kyle, I'm probably gonna head out soon. I think the chat's getting long enough. It's kind of bogging my speech down a bit, but I'll hang out a little longer. I like to give people a little warning. Appreciate you tuning in, though, man. Yeah, I mean, just you have to just look for the six barrel. Um, I don't know because I haven't really looked for them. I think I think Robert RTG had some at one time. Yeah, well, if I'll probably be heading out pretty quick here too, probably about 15 minutes, just to give everyone a chance if they want to mention anything else. If you've heard any news about the brace situation, anything else? You heard her purring. She is a girl, and she's very proud of being a girl. Not just teasing. If I released a book, should it be in Braille? Next, I'm gonna try to do live streaming through StreamYard. I've been doing, just YouTube. Sorry, I was trying to go over to the other page and look at something. I don't know. It might be hard for me to think of five favorite movies. It's kind of a, some ways a very big number, in some ways very little. I don't know. That's a weird answer, but off the top of my head, um, again, I am kind of a child of the '80s, so I like a lot of the Star Trek movies, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, that kind of stuff. Um, more. There was some good stuff in the '90s too. I know Fox would say he likes 2001. He's a big Stanley Kubrick fan, and I like it. It's just probably not my favorite. I do like Doctor Strangelove, though. Thinking of Kubrick, that's probably my favorite of his, personally. Newer stuff, I really liked Interstellar. Enjoyed that one a lot. Yeah, that's kind of what comes to mind right now. Yeah, 6.5 is an odd barrel length for an Uzi too, because usually your micro Uzis weren't quite that long because your mini Uzi is about 7.8. So at that point, might as well just do a mini. I'm thinking the mini and micro, excuse me, usually ran 5 to about 5.5 inches in that ballpark. I think the one I put in mine was about 5 inches, maybe like 5 and a quarter. Oh, Lonesome Dove's great. My father liked that one. I mean, I love Tommy Lee Jones's dry sense of humor. It just kind of that works for me. What is it, Peanut? Yes, I know. Yes, I know. You don't have my undivided attention. You'll be okay. Yes, you will. Yeah, it cracks me up, especially you don't hear this so much today, but back in the day, the old thing about 9 millimeters a weak round, blah blah blah. I like 357. That's a man's round, and don't get me wrong, yeah, it's a round. It's just a 9 millimeter with a lot of powder behind it. So, in the days of 9 millimeter NATO, then plus P, and now plus P plus, and all these more advanced versions. Yeah, it's kind of getting there, especially like you said. I've kind of found with 9 mil, about 8 inches get you about max velocity, maybe 10, but 8 seems to be really getting it going good. No, I wouldn't mind. I said this on last Thursday's live stream. I'd like to get my hands on a Scar 15P. Not enough to go buy one, but enough if a friend has got one or Fox buys one. Yeah, I do like the Scar. It's just, I don't know. I can't bring myself to love it, but I like it. Hey, Jibby. I'm not doing any censorship, but I'll see what I can do. You know we're on YouTube. Um, yeah. If there's anything I can do, I'll look. I just don't know. It is what it is. Yeah, the minis, uh, the originals, yeah, are pretty few and far between. They only imported them for about a year. Vector made some good minis, and what was cool about some of the Vectors, They had some, quite a few built on IMI receivers, but they even had some that were built on IMI mini specific receivers. And so if you can't find an IMI gun, you might look for one of the vectors. I also like the mini for the stock. It's got a really good stock. It's easy to deploy. It's light. It's thin, yet it's surprisingly durable. It doesn't have a lot of flex to it. And the mini doesn't feel heavy. And let's be honest, Snake Eyes preferred the mini, so it's got to be good, right? My cat's happy, JB. Yeah, YouTube, just yeah, and not just YouTube, but bots. What's a bot now? Yeah, Chris and I were talking about the 816 this Saturday. Eh, Mac 10s. One thing is fun. There's a lot of accessories out there for the Mac 10, and they're not crazy expensive. It's a gun that you can really get into and customize and not break the bank. They're fun. No, I've never done an HK flat kit. I had Vector do some for me in the past, but with welding and all that involved, yeah, pass. And again, there's always been actual built options. The Springfield SAR 3 or 8, they were always set me's around. Just never really had the need to. The mini's fun. You won't regret it, especially if you SBR it. It's my favorite overall Uzi because it's that balancing between a point between full size and the micro, the pistol. It really is a submachine gun, unlike the micro, but it's so much lighter and more balanced than the full sized. Oh, there's been a lot of manufacturers of Mac 10s besides Ingram. A lot of them. The masterpiece guns seem to be doing well. Jay had one. I had one. Uh, they're quite well made, and of course, you had plenty of other brands. Powder Springs comes to mind. Most reliable pistol. I think it kind of depends on what way. Honestly, most of your modern automatics have pretty much got the bugs worked out. Any of your modern guns, I'd say it really just comes down to what you're comfortable with. Of course, they all have failure points. The Bretta's got the locking block, and that was a wear part. Every gun's going to have a wear part. The the P226, at least the original stamped version, had eventually issues with the pinned in block and the slide coming out of the pinholes, egging. Nothing's perfect. Everything will break. But if you want something totally bulletproof, you can always get an HK Mark 23. That would definitely challenge you to wear it out. Yeah, the mini Uzi is like a mini fun. You could give them out at Halloween in those little plastic pumpkins. Here's a Snickers, here's a mini Uzi. And that's Halloween in Israel. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Mac 10s and Mac 11s were inexpensive to say the least. A lot of Uzi chat tonight. I'm cool with it. It's just kind of funny coming out of nowhere. Um, it's just one of those classic '80s guns. I always like the wood stock for the Uzi too. The quick detach wood stock. Oh, I also thought it was funny that the Bundeswehr, the West German military, adopted the Uzi as the MP2, but never really adopted the MP5. Yeah, the prices on HKP sevens are not what I would pay. I mean, I've shown you my Uzi wood in several videos. What do you want to say? They're cool. They were just kind of early on. There was also a black polymer QD stock that they had, and I don't have one of those. I've had them in the past, but I just ended up hanging on to one. Don't eat it. The green tip. Also, don't use it as a suppository, I guess. I don't think when's the last time we did an Uzi video. I know Jera and I shot mine at the cabin a year or so ago, so just go to the channel and type Uzi. It'll pop up. Hmm. Don't mind me, Peanut. I'm allowed to move, Miss Peanut, even though you don't think so. Well, there's only one way to find out. Grab that green tip. I know nothing about 7 millimeter ultra mag. I remember when black Talon ammo was the big spooky ammo around in the 90s. And then when 5.7 came out, police officers were kind of legit worried because, they had just adopted wearing bulletproof vests full time, and then FN releases what's supposed to be an armor piercing round and it's on the market. And yeah, a lot of the police, at least around here, were concerned or at least mindful of it. Did you know in Vietnam, speaking of helicopters, they used duct tape to repair bullet holes, bullet damage in Huey rotor blades? I don't know why, but I found that hilarious. I mean, obviously, it was a temporary thing until they could get back and put a new blade on, but they did. Duct tape, it's a wonderful thing. Hey, Bingo. Yeah, I'm about to head off. I've been here. I really just thought I'd do this for about an hour, but that's how it goes. I'm kind of ducking out on doing some vacuuming, but yeah, probably hang out here for another 5 or 10 and whatnot. We've mostly been talking about Galils and Uzis and a little bit about the arm brace situation and this and that. Now Miss Peanut is grooming. Yeah, yeah, on the moon, like outdoors on the moon. Yeah, looking into how they repaired the fenders on the rover and stuff was very innovative. Very, very innovative. I often think, I know they didn't take the rover any too far away that they couldn't literally walk back to the lander, but the idea of stepping out of your spacecraft and then driving that far away, that took the whole thing took some balls. It is spectacular. It truly is. Yeah, what are prices on Valkyrie P5s now? I haven't really checked in, but I picked one of the surplus guns up when they came out years ago. I mean, they look different, but essentially it's a P1, which is basically a post-war P38, alloy frame, but that's not a bad thing. Um, actually, of the German service pistols, P5, P6, P7, it's the P5 I own, but that shouldn't be any shocker with my Walther thing. Just remember, they take their own mag, but it's just a modified P1, P38 mag with a notch cut in the base, or no, the bottom of the spine, I should say. I appreciate that, JB. Being serious, yeah, that's kind of, I mean, shared things and community. That's really why I like guns and just all of this. It's, what about Mars Space Gun? Shoot my P5? No, because when I bought it, that was long before even YouTube existed. So I don't know if I've had it out in a while. With pistols, yeah, I've got so many of them that I don't routinely bring a lot of those out anymore. Not because they're bad. It's just I don't know. Pistol's a pistol. Some of that stuff I just kind of study for curiosity. I've actually never shot my P4. Probably never will. But back in the day when I bought the P5 and the P1, I definitely shot them. As you know, JB, I rather like LMT. They've done some neat stuff, and they're a military grade outfit, good quality without going just nuts overboard. I do think there's kind of a quality threshold. I mean, we all like good fit, we all like good finish, but you can go way past where it's reasonable, and some companies do. Of course, you can always skimp on it on the other end, and that I kind of feel like LMT definitely feels like a really nice gun without crossing that line. It definitely feels more like a service gun. I did do a video recently on the P7, and so I did mention the German trials, those three that were accepted, and it's not out yet. But I actually recorded last week another video on the P38 through all the way through, just kind of doing a deep dive. I had nothing really new there, but I said I'm just enjoying getting my Walters out. So got the P38K, the P4, P5, P5 compact. No, it's kind of fun to look at the original P38 and then how far they came with it. Yep, the L129A1 was LMT. New Zealand used a variant as well, and if we're talking Walters, the L102A1 was the P5C that was in British service, mainly used up in Northern Ireland, but I think they bought a lot 3,000, 3,500. Not an insignificant number. Never had a fake suppressor in my Uzi Pro. Alrighty, guys, it's doing the annoying thing again where I had to refresh it. I will say the chat scrolling was a lot better behaved tonight than it has been in the past. So I feel like we're making progress. But been on here 2.5 hours, so final comments. Anyone want to throw in any final super chats? Again, I really actually hate self promoting, but job's a job and whatnot. So couple more minutes and then I'm gonna call it quits. Go grab a drink or something because my throat's drying out, and maybe finish a video that I was started recording before. The 308 infield, yeah, the 2A and 2A1. I like them. What's cool about them is they weren't just re-barreled or whatever. They were actually built from the ground up to fire 7.62. Really, it was the last bolt action made for a military that wasn't like a sniper or specialist gun. Sure, lay a joke on me, bingo. Sure, JB. I'm definitely not going to bed, but I can talk for a while. You might have noticed, but yeah, at some point. That's your money, right? I see what you say for Fox, but I don't. It doesn't read like it's. I guess it's an emoji because I can know something's there because it just reads like a blank. But yeah, it actually says zero width, which is how it reads those things. What do you think, Miss Peanut? Hmm? Miss Peanut has crashed out, dreaming dreams of something as her tail switching. One of the other cats is doing something, but I know which one it is. But they woke up Miss Peanut. Really, computer? Let's not go there. It's being ornery. I know it's shocking, isn't it? Would you read? Yeah, I may have to actually pick up like a cheap little webcam or something. I mean, it's just something I never really needed before. Bingo. Yeah, I actually like the HSC. Did a video year or two back. So yeah, search the channel HSC. It's one of those guns I wanted to get for a long time. That and the Sour 38, but I don't know. I never really found the right one until I traded for a couple during COVID. So I like those little 7.65 32 guns that were used in that era. They're interesting, and they're not crazy expensive, which is always fun. I don't know. 1911s aren't my bag. My military ones have always been good. I guess I should say Wilson Combat because they're here nearby, but I think a lot of them are again they've kind of hit that pinnacle. They've got it right. I mean, I even owned some like the Springfield GIs back in the day, and they ran fine. There's so many of them made now that yeah, I think they've kind of I think after 110 plus years they figured it out. I kind of like the FN 1922 as well. That like long barrel look it has. It's kind of neat. And some of the French designs are really neat too. Just like the MABs. And of course, there's always the classic Ruby. Oh, by the way, you're talking about concealed hammer. The Ruby's got them beat. Of course, there were other hammer guns too, but there was always the Spanish Ruby. There's actually a little hammer in there. Of course, it itself is a copy of a Colt slash Browning. Yep, I do have a Remington Rand and an Ithaca. Uh, I don't know why the BBP hasn't done an underfolder. Hmm, hmm. I mean, it's kind of an older style gun, to be fair. I don't know. They just haven't. Stingers are a thing. They are out there. I read of a couple of guys getting them from even like the CMP thing. How it goes. There's actually a really fun story about why Singer didn't make more than uh, than that. I'd love to see the Wasser 2 return, but with the status of 545 ammo, I doubt it. I like 1911s, JB, but it's, a little bit goes a long way with me. You gotta have one. They are fun. They're classic, but I could never have a collection of just 1911s. Some people do. It works for them. That's cool. But I've got a couple of military ones. I got an Argentine. Picked up one of those Colt M45A1s when they were inexpensive. Well, relatively speaking, like 1200 new. But yeah, it's good for me. Alrighty, guys. I am beat and appreciate it. It was fun. Appreciate the super chats and just hanging out, talking, and just the fact that the chat worked relatively well with my speech tonight. Good to know. Like I said, next time I'll try it with StreamYard. I just need to learn the controls for that and whatnot. Uh, but we'll get on a regular schedule soon. Of course, next Thursday is Thanksgiving, so that probably won't happen. But we'll get through the holidays and try to get in a regular pattern. So I'm gonna have to disturb Miss Peanut and make her get up. But on behalf of everyone else, it's just me tonight and Miss Peanut. She just popped her head out when I said it's just me, so she wants to be acknowledged too. Don't you? You went up? I don't think she is very grumpy when she wakes up. She just huffed at me. You'll be all right. Go eat or something. And I'm gonna do the same, guys. Maybe get back to work on a video I was working on. But it was fun, and if anyone does know anything about the brace situation, feel free to drop it. And if anyone wants to contact me again, Ozark Bear Arms at Gmail, bear like the animal. All right. Thanks, guys, and I'm out.